stop share or I think I'll stop share. Hello, everyone. Hello, Nitin. We always get your insights in all the meetings. Always lovely to hear you.
Thank you, Sandipa. Looking forward for your presentation.
Thank you so much. Hi, Francisco.
Oh, we can talk now. Okay. Hi.
Okay. Hi.
I thought we were not allowed. So silent here in this room. What's going on?
Hello, everyone. Where are you from? Please type in.
Hello, Sandipa. Greetings from Uganda.
Thank you, Charity. Thank you so much.
Greetings from Tunisia.
Hi, Tasmin. Thank you. We have the world here.
Yeah.
We will wait for another 2 minutes for participants to join in, and then we will start. Hi, Ryan from South Africa. Beautiful country. Uganda. Anita is here. Okay. We have China, we have India. So glad to have you. Anita is here, Rafat. So
you're on mute.
I said, my apologies, I got sidetracked doing something and then I just realized the time.
No
With
worries.
Panic.
No worries. Arafat was, where are you, host? I said, they're coming, don't worry.
All here on time.
Yeah, Ike was here.
Yeah, last
Even
minute.
Anita is on time, so we've not started yet. So.
Hi, Adelina. I missed your session, unfortunately, but I'll definitely look at the recording.
You can unmute.
Hi, Sandipa.
Hi, Adelina.
Thank you,
Thank
Philippe.
you.
We miss you as well.
Arafat, let me know when we start so we can.
It's time, Sandeepa. We can start.
Time? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. I'm Sandipa from Nepal. And thank you all for being here. We are marking 1 month today of our mega symposium. Today is the 30th day, and thank you all for being here. And it's an honor and joy to be on this platform every day, envisioned by our Arafat. And we are learning every day from the world. You know, we being coaches also, we're learning every day, and that is really awesome. And thank you all the participants for being here every day, being with us, supporting us, listening to us, and sharing your experiences. So as I said, I'm Sandipa. I love to travel and I love animals. So I have a lot of pets at home, right? So that is there. Beside that, I'm also a professional certified coach, and I do different professional training as well. So today, like you must have seen, like last 2 days, we have the team career coaches presenting. And the first was our Anita, who presented the Ikigai model. And the model, like we talked about, what do we want? What do we love to do? What we are good at, and what is the purpose? And then we take it to the next step with Adelina talking about personal agility and how do we move forward. Today, I'm going to talk about making effective and outstanding resume, but not only just how to make it, but why we need it, more of why, and how we can do better. And it will be followed by awesome Dr. Alicia, who will be presenting on what and how we can prepare for an interview, and closed by an IK talking about tackling negative emotions and assessment and things like that. So don't miss this, because we created the holistic approach to our career vision, because we all believe that career management is a lifelong skills. It is not just one-time job or one-time things you're looking for, because according to survey, 30 years back, people were sticking to career, one career for 20 and more years. And last decade, it has come down to 7 years. And this generation, if you see, they are only sticking to one job, maximum 2 to 3 years. So we have to remember that every job is temporary and we have to move it. So like Adelina used the metaphor yesterday of an ocean and being the captain of a ship, I love the metaphor of going to the dance floor. Though I have a left foot, but I feel that you have to dance according to music that comes, the DJ plays in your life, you know. So let me tell you how I did my career transition. Over the years, it was not an easy journey, but sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. But 2 things I learned was to accept and to adapt every time I moved from one job to another. And that's how my whole career management, I was able to manage better. So I come from this beautiful country, Nepal. I was talking to Philip about it. And we have been using this metaphor for a long time. Even Francisco used this, talking about summiting Mount Everest, you know. So this is the gateway to Mount Everest, called Namche Bazaar. I didn't climb, I just went by helicopter, but this is where it starts. And I come from this beautiful country. Maybe that is the reason why I entered tourism. I wanted to make my career into hospitality and tourism, because maybe I wanted, deep inside, I wanted to show the world how beautiful my country is. So I started doing hospitality management, and I moved to Switzerland. I did my hospitality management. I studied there. I started as a waiter, though it was my job, but my career was different. But I started, and it was not easy. Starting in Nepal in a convent, and then going to India. I also did high school from India in a convent, and suddenly to a world which was totally culturally different. So I started working there and realized like how totally different I was. So after working there for a short period, I moved back to Nepal, and I started working for the hotel industry, which I thought was full of glamour and vanity. I thought that was what hospitality industry is all about. So working for a few years in Nepal, I realized that it was not so glamorous, and things were pretty tough. And what was it is like in Nepal that time, it was almost 20 years back, I realized that people have only risen through the ranks, and most of the top positions at the hotels were run by foreign nationals. So as Anita said, I was looking on what I was doing, and then I found my purpose that time, maybe. Then me with other three partners, we decided to open the hospitality school in Nepal. And it was the first private hospitality school in Nepal. And it has been 20 years now. We're celebrating 20 years, known as Silver Mountain. So I thought my life was set, the career I was looking for, I was happy. I thought till 90, this will be my career and this will be my life. Then from salsa, I had to do tango because my husband is in an international job. So he had to move to US. So it was a happy moment for the whole world. I think I was a bit sad because I had to leave my career and go. And for me, it was like, I think like every career transition, like people see, for me, it was not easy because there, I went there and everybody around me told me that you'll get a job, you have done that, you have done this. And my house was next to Marriott headquarters. But still, for 1.5 years, I could not find anything. You know, from somebody, I became nobody. And it did not only impacted my career, but it impacted my health as well. And several times I was hospitalized. Looking back, I think it is a lot of not only my physical ailments, but emotional things also. That is how career impacts. And then I hired, then I said I had to do something. So there's a culture of volunteerism big in US. So they told me, why don't you do volunteerism? Because I was already coaching, you know, my students at my schools and doing all these things. So the first volunteer opportunity I got was at the prison. In US, when people are coming out of the prison after serving their sentences, there are coaches who are there who do volunteer and help them to build their resumes, find them to apply on job sites and all. And for me, my first client, I walked into the prison and with all these security and everything, and my client was a man who was coming out of prison after 25 years. I was scared. Yes, I was threatened, but I had this thing that I have to go on, you know, and I did. And I worked there for almost 4 months. And I started working with the coach. And then I got the opportunity, because of that volunteer opportunity, I got the opportunity to work with George Washington University as a senior career coach. And that's how the journey started. And I worked with the thing and I started volunteering. I went on volunteering and I volunteered for the World Bank Family Network, which had 5,000 members. And it gave me this I started working for that and I became the president of the organization and I started working. Then I thought, again, my life was set and now we are happy, you know. Then came the next decision, again, we have to move. So I had to ask this question, do I follow my dream or do I follow my love with my family? And obviously, we're in that phase, I think all of us could relate because career is just one part of us. And life is the full circle. And I think only one crust of the pizza. That by that time I was able to realize and I could accept and adapt. So we moved to South Africa for a short period of time. We lived there. And I started thinking now how I should move a career with the family that is moving all the time. So I started thinking about online courses, taking my clients doing coaching online, and we did that. I started doing it. And then we moved to Thailand, another beautiful country. And I got my coaching certification, coaching license, and I started working with the thing internationally, and I set up my coaching business and all. So what I learned throughout these experiences is in life, there are jobs that come and go, but we have to transit. And right now I'm in South Korea dancing to the style and doing Gangnam Style, Oppa Gangnam Style, if you have heard the Shy song. And this is what I think life is all about, you know, it is all about dancing to the tune. So DJ might change it, but you dance it as you move it. So this is like career transition. So I think I have done that and gone, and I think I'm ready for the next move. I think if I have to, and I'm much prepared, much happier and what I'm doing, because and it was not easy. And I think because I think I made career my biggest identity throughout my life. So whenever I give introduction now, I try to bring other part of me. Like if you have seen my intro, I started saying, I love animals. I do that because I want to be not only the person identified as a career or the identity. So that saying so, like we all have career visions, right? So we all are here because we have career vision and all. And our vision is always directed by the wants. What do we want? That's why we want a career. We have dreams. And we have expectations, not only expectation by us, by our family members, by our friends, and by our society, all the time. So that is how the career leads. And I ask myself often, and I ask my client, customers, and students, I ask, what excites you? It is better you find your reason, your calling, your passion early in life. Sometimes you're not able to do it because of the limited resources, but don't be too late living someone else's dream. So that is, and I think in this room, we have a lot of people who share similar stories as mine, because we are international and we have done that and been there, but it is not an easy journey. So for that, we need to prepare ourselves. Career management that's why I said is a lifelong skill. So first thing, I think we all have talked about in the last 30 days about self-awareness, and I feel we need to be aware of ourselves. We're so aware of what's happening outside. I can tell you like what climate change is doing to the world. I can talk about what's happening in politics and Corona and all those things, but we are not aware, So I think two things we need to be aware of is strength and weakness, because we need balance in life. If we just focus on strength, I think we will ignore a weakness and we start flying up in the cloud and we fall down. If you only talk about weakness, we lose our self-confidence and we never reach to the point. So always, every morning, as a gratitude exercise, I get up and I do say thank you. And I ask this myself, what are my top 3 strengths to go today? And what are the top 3 weaknesses I have every day? So it keeps me grounded and balanced. So let's ask ourselves every day, what are my 3 strengths and what are the weaknesses, the jobs which I had to do? That Adelina gives us the personal agility, the chart. So when you do that, you can ask yourself, what are the things I have and what I don't have and how I can improve upon it. So saying so, I would like to know, like now we are going into career management, we're talking about it. So there are so many ducks. If you see, which duck do you like? Anyone? You can write in the chat, you can unmute your microphone and say. You can write, which duck do you like? There's so many ducks there. Any comments? Any? Aiki, Anita, yeah.
Yeah, blue,
So
blue,
far-
it's
oh.
unique. Blue, you should have given it nose, blue. Yeah, lots of blue actually.
Yeah, we always
The one
want
looking
to be,
right.
one
the
looking
blue
right.
one.
Okay, the blue one. Okay. I think we all are here because we want to be the blue duck. We want to be noticed, we want to be known, and we want to be celebrated, and we want to be somebody that is noticeable. I think this is the world we live in, and we are thriving towards being recognized in some way, for our own way or for the others as well. So this is the duck, we all were. So remember this duck next time when you are thinking of doing something new, looking for a new job, looking for a new business, whatever, which duck do you want to be? It is not only for the career, but even for building new business, building new relationship. We always want to, even going on a date, you want to be a blue duck among all the ducks. So those of you who are still young and want to go on a date, you can still take this picture and think about it. That's why if you want to be a blue duck, do you think you need self-marketing? Do you need to tell the world I'm amazing? Anybody? Do you think you need to tell the world you're amazing, or just people will know about you?
You need to tell the world you're different.
Yeah, we need to tell the world we're different. We're blue ducks. And how do we do that? We do that because we build our brand. And remember, we are the brand. You are the brand. Each individual, all of you sitting here today, you are the brand and you're representing yourself. So we need to build our brand. It's not what we wear, what we drive, where we live, but the thing that we carry with ourselves is our brand. So how do we brand ourselves? We need to do, why do we need to self-market? Because we live in a physical and online. We have two, digital and physical brand. 15 years ago, it was just a physical brand. And now we live in this online world, a digital world. And if you see, there all the apps surrounding us 24 hours. And I think on all those apps, I bet all of you have at least 5 of those apps in your phone. Yes? So what message are we sending every day? How are we self-marketing? What are we doing? We need to analyze that. Most of the time we forget. And if yes, then we need good communication skills. We all need very good communication skills in order to be that blue duck. Okay. So I feel in communication is culture. We talked about communication in a lot of ways, but for me, culture is communication because the way people create, send, process, and interpret information. We all are here from 49 countries being here, and then we are talking in English, and everyone, but the way we interpret is different according to our cultures, you know. And I'm a strong believer because the culture plays a very big part in our communication. Okay. Why do you think Titanic sank? Now, I think all of you have seen the movie Titanic or heard about it, read stories. Why do you think Titanic sank? If you remember. Seen the beautiful movie, the mighty Titanic that time, the people thought that it would not sink. But why did it sink? What is the reason Titanic sank? Can you share with us, please?
Yeah, it hit an iceberg. If you don't communicate your work, how would people know about it? No, okay, that was an answer to one question. That was one question, Sandipa. Okay. Should I ask first a question?
Yes, please.
Okay, can't your works alone market you without going out to necessarily market yourself?
Yes, it can to some extent, but what is your career vision? And with so many similar products and the competition going on, if you want to be that blue duck, do you think you can without marketing, without self-marketing? Self-marketing doesn't mean you have to blow your horns, but you have to do things differently. You have to create a clarity and a vision to go with it. So I think you think about it. But if you are doing your job, day-to-day job, because as I said, no job is permanent, you know, so nothing is permanent. You have to move from one to another. So hope I answered. Any other questions or things?
So I read the answers for the iceberg, for the Titanic. It had a crack that let water in. It hit the big rock, the unknown, no risk management, poor planning.
Yes, all of that because the captain of the ship, they thought that the ship is unsinkable. They had overconfidence and they just saw the tip of the iceberg. They did not see the overall picture. And that is why it sank, you know. So communication is like the iceberg. We just see the tip of the iceberg. We don't see what is inside. So I think we have to know our iceberg. So this is like the communication iceberg, you know, what I'm wearing, how am I talking, my gestures, my greeting, my facial expressions are part of communication, which we just see on the outer level. But how we communicate actually is through our values, through our experiences, traditions, and behaviors. So we come from different cultures. Like, let me talk about experience. Where I come from, Nepal, people are so laid back, you know. Importance of time, they always say it's a Nepali time and they're always late, you know. So it is really like, it's not good. And then they take it in a relaxing thing. And at times, many people, when they have to go abroad and work and all, they have lost jobs. And slowly now corporate culture is coming in Nepal, and people are facing a lot of difficulty because the time is not ingrained factor and everybody is accepting it. Even communication style through the tradition, because I was working at US, I was doing this presentation to a group of people. And then after the presentation, the gentleman told me, I think you are hiding something in this presentation. I was a bit shocked and taken back. And I said, what am I hiding? I told you everything. He said, I think you are not looking into the eyes. You don't have the eye contact. And I think you are hiding it. And the gentleman was American and I was a Nepali. And as being a Nepali, I was brought up being taught that when you talk to your seniors or elders, you don't look into the eyes. That's the culture I come from. You know, it looks very rude. And I found out it is in very different other cultures as well. It is very rude to look into the eyes and, you know, talk about it. So this is how our thing. So we have to know our iceberg. So we have to know what are the things inside, where you are at the moment, which culture you are in, and do our communication accordingly. We are in a global environment. We're doing business globally. And I think this has to be understood because a lot of the misunderstandings happen between the misinterpretations. Even work, social etiquette, you must have heard this famous story about Coca-Cola entering Japan. Have you heard about it? Like they entered Japan, and then when they entered Japan, Coca-Cola CEO went and gave the card to the Japanese counterpart, and the presentation went well. But the Japanese outright, they just smiled, and then they did not give business to Coke for another 10 years because the gentleman, while exchanging the credit, name card, business card, he put it behind the back pocket, which is really bad etiquette for the Japanese counterpart. It took them 10 years to crack the business back. So this is how culture and communication is different. So let's know our iceberg. So let's try to find different cultural things and start our communications in a better way. So let me ask you, how long it has been since you updated your profile picture? We have a profile picture in Facebook, in Snapchat, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere, right? Nowadays, even everywhere, Clubhouse, everywhere you need a picture. So how long it has been since you updated your profile picture?
1 week.
1 week, okay. Very honest answer. 1 year.
Once in 10 years.
Once in 10 years, okay, good.
1 year, 2 years, 2 weeks, 4 years, 2 weeks, 2 years, 1 day, several months.
Okay. And what about your resume?
1 week, 3 days, over 10 years.
There are a few with 10 years, but most of us, like we are into days and months. What about your resume? How long it has been?
3 days, over 1 year, 5 days, 1 month.
Wow. I think most of the time yes, IK, please.
2 years, 6 months, 3 years, today, 1 month. Rarely.
Really. We have fantastic group of people here, like who are updating their resumes weekly. I'm really super impressed, you know. So most of the time we do not do our resumes much because we think we will do as and when needed, you know. Or sometimes most of us who are running their business, entrepreneurs, and who already have a job think, I don't need my resume to be updated. I already have it. But always remember, as I said earlier, you are between the jobs. You are never at one job. You are always between the jobs because life throws different tunes to you. You have the DJ throws different tunes and you have to dance accordingly. So even if you don't need a need to search for a job, you need resume, because you need to self-branding. If you are going for, let's say, you are running a business, you need to self-brand. So once you have a proper resume, you know yourself better. You know what you have accomplished, you know what you have done, you can put all those accomplished sentences, and you can talk about like what, where have I done, and you remember all those things, and it is easier for people to talk. Another is branding statement. We can talk about anything, I think, nowadays, but when we have to talk about ourselves, within 1 minute, I think we have to give up, like at most of the people, it's a survey, like we don't feel so comfortable talking about ourselves because we know ourselves, but we are not prepared. So once you make your resume, you can give your introduction better, and you can change and improvise as you want. Another bio, I ask people a lot of time to ask for the bio. I do different panels, and I invite people for workshops and all, and give classes and all. Every time I ask a bio, out of 100, 90 people always tell me, give me 2 days, I'll come back with my bio. If I ask for a business plan, they said, I'll be back by this evening. I hope this has happened to you all. Business plan, your organization thing, you have it in one go. But if I ask for a bio, people, because they are not giving importance to themselves. And I don't think you should take 2 days to build your bio. But if you have this resume, this communication paper ready with you, and then you can have a bio, you can send it in any day to anybody, and you might not lose business. Many people have lost business because they are not able to sign and send it on time. Another is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like 80% of the jobs are nowadays found through LinkedIn. This was the recent survey done by Times Magazine. And LinkedIn, like, people are looking for your profile. People are looking everywhere for you through LinkedIn. Even the businesses nowadays are done through LinkedIn. So if you have a good resume, you can just pull it and put it in LinkedIn. So then you have the presence there. Nobody has to pull it up, and everybody can see it. So that is the reason you need it, because you need to market, as we talked about. If you want to be a blue duck, if you want to self-market, you need to have a good bio, good resume, so you know that, and you tell what you are. And profile, people are nowadays asking for profile. Nowadays, the younger generations are going up to profiling, making their videos and keeping it ready and sending it. Many organizations even are asking nowadays to send the profile, especially in US. So they do the video profiling. And if you do not have a proper resume and a bio, a proper resume, how can you create your profile, right? So now those of you like would think, why do I need a resume? I have my own business. Why do I need to update it? Why do I need it? Because you need it. Even like when we are in a forum like this, and many times you are asked to give your introduction. So how prepared are we? What we want to say? Because we have to know ourselves and tweak it every time it is according to the group. So let's make our resume. We need to talk about a resume. So resume or CV. These are two different things, but it is changing. It is interchangeably used by HR people all over the world. And we hear country-wise, it is different. So what is resume is very concise. It is short, whereas curriculum vitae, CV, is very detailed. Resumes are very targeted, and curriculum vitae actually is for academics and for researchers, where they have published articles, where they have done research, where they have written books. So all those things that they have done remains the same over the years, and that is gone. But resume changes every time that it is asked. So that's why it's called targeted, and depends on every country. It depends on country and reason. I will show you how it changes from country to country, region to region. Even as yesterday, Aglina said, When I was applying for a job in Switzerland, the German part resume was very German to the resume type of resume, and the French part was more of a CV kind of a resume. So it is totally different even in one country, you know. So this is how it is changed. So resume you can adapt every time. And most of the time, CV remains same, as I told you, because it's used by academicians, researchers, and all. So the content you have does not change. But resume, like, you adapt every time. Suppose like if we are coaches and we are doing this workshop and Arafat has asked us for our resume to present, then we need to adapt it saying that we are presenters, we have done these kind of things, we have done our business. So we need to change according to the audience we are talking to, we are doing it. So that has to change. So it depends on where you are applying, you know, it depends which company, which reason are you applying, and you build it according to it. So let me give you this, my resume story. Let me tell you like how I was so interested in it and how it changed over my career. So learning still continues as I move from one country to another and meeting people from different. In Nepal, this was my resume. I had an objective we had to write. It was almost 20 years back, 23 years back. And then I had to write my name, I had to write my date of birth, I had to write my father's name, my marital status, God knows why they wanted, address, gender, email, and this, you know. And this is my resume, which was more of a biodata kind of a thing. And then, of course, the picture. They wanted to see me before they hire me. And I took the same resume, and then I went to Switzerland. I started looking for a job, an internship, and then it was similar, but they did not require my father's name, nor did they require my marital status, but they still required my date of birth. And they still asked for the picture. You know, we had to stick that picture on the resume. And this was what I thought the resume world is full of. I thought this is how people work with resumes and CVs in every part of the world. Then I moved to US. As I told you, I moved to US, and for almost 1 year, I did not get a reply from a single employer, not interviews. I did not even get a reply from one employer. And I was doing this, and when I talked to the coach I hired, and she told me that what I was doing wrong. You know what? In US, if I send my resume with a picture and a date of birth, nobody opens it because there is a big discrimination suit law waiting for you to happen to the employers. If they ask for that, they are sued. So because of that, they did not want any kind of personal information beside your name, address, phone number, and a LinkedIn. That's what they wanted. And when I just immediately pulled out those contents, I had so many things coming up to me. So you have to understand how it is different in different culture. So that's what I said in the beginning, culture is communication. So this is what they wanted, and no picture. So if you are applying in many parts, even I think in Singapore, they normally do not want resumes. You know, this is what they do. And you have to understand this, like in every market. So before you apply, even for a business deal you want to do, find out what are the things. So now my resume is this because they told me, and I have worked with a lot of students, a lot of people in US over the years, and this is how the system works there. So employers are very scared when they get something with a picture. And many of us come from the picture where we think we need our picture, we need to be seen, we need to show our pictures. So let's find out, like I did this, I found something. I think this is format country-wise, how it is done by smart resumes, how it is different in part of different cultures. It might have changed, but it's done by smart resumes, I think it's 2018 or 19. I can share it with you later in my shareables. So if you see European countries, they call it CV, they prefer CV type, they want 2-3 pages, they want a photo in their resume, yes. I don't know many, but some countries don't, right? Even in Europe, if you see Germany, they don't want photos. It might have changed. With Scandinavian countries, I hear nowadays, they also don't want photos, you know. United States, United Kingdom, it's CV, and then it is plain normal work experience. Singapore, it's resume. They don't want pictures. And then in Japan, even there is a culture of asking for a handwritten resumes, because the culture of writing by hand is making more personal and powerful. So these are the things that is like, it depends, but slowly the globalization and the corporate cultures are changing all around the world, and the way they do business is changing. So when you apply, try to find like what is the culture, not only of the country, but the company culture also. You have to find what is the company culture, and you have to do networking, you have to do some research, and then only tweak your resumes or the CV as per the need. Most of the time what happens is we have made one resume or CV that is there, and whoever asks, we send it to the whole world, wherever it is. We do not see our target market. And that's why most of the time we lose the business. We don't get it what we want because we don't target it. So this is like, it might have changed, but Australia is also too much into resume. And a lot of my Australian friends also, they say that they do not like have a picture on their resume. And it is like personal contact to some extent, but you have to know like where you are sending, working, which part, which country. And even as I said, company culture, it has to change accordingly. So please do research. It might be different now. As I said, it is 2018-19. So it has changed and things are changing. So please do research. Nothing is written in black and white. It is changes over the time. So please do that. But you have to know where you're applying and what you're applying. Any questions so far you want me to take before I?
There were a few comments in the chat regarding date of birth and picture. And yeah, I think you just mentioned that regarding the pictures here. And there was another question, if LinkedIn is mandatory in EU countries.
I don't think it is mandatory, but I think people are preferring LinkedIn everywhere in the world, and the way in the business world, everywhere people are searching people through LinkedIn. So nothing is mandatory, but it is better to have a LinkedIn profile in this generation because people are finding you through LinkedIn everywhere. I think most of the managers, recruiters I meet and see, the first thing they do is just hit your name in the LinkedIn and try to see you.
From Dr. Ramanjil in Canada, no date of birth, picture, gender, and another comment was appreciate the clarification between CV versus resume. Great learning.
Thank you. I would like to hear from our participants in Africa, like different parts. What is the normally the culture? Is it CV, resume, picture, personal information? That will be good learning for all of us here.
No comments yet. There was another comment regarding Canada. In Canada, they demand the date of graduation so that they can tell your age.
Okay.
And from Anita, in the Middle East, the requirements for CV has changed quite a lot over the years and is now more in line with EU or US practice.
Yes, Middle East also. I also work with, I have a hospitality school, and I send a lot of students in Middle East for work and internship. And this is slowly changing, but photo is mandatory. And even now, like, they are not in hotels, especially in hospitality industries. They even ask the height and weight. I don't know, like sometimes I find it very big discrimination in things, but I'm still, like yesterday only, I was dealing with hotels And then while sending students for the interview, they were asking height and weight also, you know. So even in Nepal, they do that. They have been doing it, but slowly, as company-wise, as the laws are coming, it is slowly changing. So I hope it changes everywhere, so there is no discrimination people can make.
There were a few more comments here, like regarding Africa. There was a comment CV. In the UAE, it is legal to ask the age. Indonesia, CV is generally recommended with photo and personal details. Then another comment from Manita that it depends on the country and industry. And then another comment, I think the resume and CV are interchangeably used mistakenly apart from very specific employers, depending on the human resource system utilized. And a comment from Carmen, towards Anita, the moment I came back from the maternity leave years ago, they let me go and made no secret of the fact that they need someone carefree. Honestly, I believe countries and companies are irrelevant, but the people and leaders who have a different understanding of how to run their unit or team, corporate veteran here. And another from Anita, in hospitality, it has changed a lot. They ask for it in the application or in the interview, but not on the CV anymore. Then from Kevin Limkeeling, as a branch British University in Malaysia, we do not recommend our students to include a photo in their CV. Nonetheless, being in the service for more than 10 years and speaking to hundreds of employers, there's a divided view and the two schools of HR where some prefer photos and some without. And discrimination can be implicit.
Yes, thank you all for all the comments. And yes, it depends, not, as I said earlier, not only on the countries, industry, and even within one company, the company culture of the people who are different in different levels, they ask for different things. So please do your research. Sometimes it is very impossible to find what people are looking for. They don't say it. But to avoid discrimination, I think we should start with something, not providing too much personal details about ourselves, you know, so that you can get through and then you can prove. So even in financial sectors, I think all around the world, it's like a lot of less of personal details are happening with the finance world because they are more into corporate culture and discrimination and all. But it's still taking people and time to change. And I think hopefully, like, there will be day we don't have to send our pictures and write our date of birth and don't get discriminated, because I see a lot of my students, I work with them and they are discriminated due to the factor even they are so good in their competencies, but one picture or one date of birth changes the game. After all, we are human and we have a lot of flaws, so we tend to do that. So keeping this in mind, so let's understand things to understand, like why we need resume. So understand that resume is there. It won't get you a job, but it can lead to interviews. Most of the time we think resumes will lead me to the job. No, it will lead you to the interviews. It will put you in front of the employer if it is good. So let's make resumes so that people can pick you up for interviews or for further discussion. It is your brand impression. So we were talking about the brand in the beginning, if you remember, self-marketing and you are the brand. So that piece of paper going from you to the employers or to the business owners, it is your impression, how you're marketing it yourself. They cannot see you, they cannot hear you, but that piece of paper is creating a brand for you. So it is your first brand, first impression that is created among the people who are doing business with you or who are going to hire you. So you have to understand that you have to present your background and qualification in the best possible way. Make sure that you put your background and qualification in the best possible way that the employers are looking for. Always remember, you are the product and your customers are your employers. You are marketing a product. You are the product, you are the brand and customers. So how do you brand yourself in that resume? It is just a black and white piece of paper. So we have to understand, like, how do we present our background and qualification? And you must have heard about this applicant tracking system. Applicant tracking system is a software. There are different kinds of applicant tracking softwares, which most of the companies are using nowadays. So what it does is when you send your resume, it is tracked by the system, and sometimes before it reaches the employer, you are already in the trash bin, because sometimes the keywords doesn't match, sometimes there are too many errors, because it is not done by the human mind, it is done by the computers, the algorithms set by the system. So you have to understand that as well. So there are a lot of videos on YouTube you can see, like on the applicant tracking system, how do they do it and how you can do it. But this also you have to take care, because this software is being used more commonly nowadays. And you have to showcase your competencies. What you have to do is you have to make sure that whatever accomplishment, achievements, recognitions you have to showcase it in such a way that somebody sees your brand for the first time and says, okay, I will consider. There are two files. It will not go on the spam folder, but it will stay on the stay folder. So we have to make sure, how do we do it? So there are different styles of resume. You must have seen. There is a reverse chronological, where most of the people see is like, we start with the recent experience we have and we go down and down and down and down. So that is called reverse chronological, the most recent on the top. So we write that, and that is how most of the people use. Then there is another style called functional resume, where many people are using nowadays to show their competencies. So they, instead of talking about their whole life of work, they pick up 3-4 competencies that are highlighted in the job description, and they talk about that in detail about those competencies. These are called functional resumes. And then there is a hybrid. In my personal opinion, it is most effective. It is a combination of both reverse chronological and functional. So you start with your key competencies, functions, and then you start your reverse chronological. It's called a hybrid resume. And nowadays they're so creative, like they have infographics on a resume, they have pictures, they have timeline, and even TikTok. Like nowadays you must have seen a lot of TikTok resumes in action. So it depends on who your client are and what is your industry. So in most of the cases, it is that even the hiring managers are still traditional, and people look for something traditional. One of the job fair in the US, while I was working for the university, one student came for the job fair wearing this t-shirt, which is very common nowadays in US. He had his whole resume printed on it, and he just came, and when people are talking, people could see, and he was hired not because it was very new during that time, but now a lot of people use it. He wore it and came, and he was chosen because they were looking for somebody in marketing. So that creativity worked. But if he had got the same thing and gone into finance industry, it might not have worked. Not with a t-shirt. This might have worked with a tech company. So when you make this, make sure that which sector are you applying, and then how you should present yourself. There are a lot of infographics being used nowadays, and then resume builders all over are doing it. Younger generations are using pictures, timeline, on all of this, being creative, which is good. But know like what kind of industry you are going and what is there. So you can always make 2-3 styles of resume and keep it according to where you're applying, especially if you are very new and young and entry to mid-level careers. So make sure where you want to do it. So, but the most common is these top 3 are always there, and people like it. people like they did this, this is also a survey done by the American Council of HR. And they did say that almost 70% of them preferred simple format and layout is easy and clean to read. So that is what the employers, they want a very simple format, traditional type, because they imagine they have to go through so many resumes for every job. Now there is almost an application of 200 to 300 applicants for a job. So if this is going higher and higher in many jobs, and then they have to go through that, and that is not easy for a human brain to go through each and every one of it if it is a lot of graphics and data. Some people can read it, but this is what people think. And if you want to stick to traditional resumes, a few things like space and fonts, they even talk about font size, font styles, font size, they say always keep it to 11, 12, don't go below 11 because human eye, it's very difficult to see. Even styles, like they say, stick to traditional ones, not so traditional like Times New Roman, but like Calgary and Arial and all, because it is easy for the eyes, because people have done a lot of findings and surveys. Space, give space, so some white space in your resume, so it's good for the eyes. So what you have to do is, whatever you do, make sure the person in front, take it as a human being, busy, working, doing a lot of things, and the person has one more added job to go through your resume. So just picture that person in front of you reading your resume and make it according to that resume. So remove dense paragraphs. Nobody, do you want to read a paragraph full of 8 lines or 3 lines? Ask yourself. To be honest, I just love 3 lines. To read 3 lines is better for me than to read 8 lines. So don't dense your paragraph. Use bullet points. Start with action verbs. And this is especially for non-native speakers like me, because my English is not English. English is my second language. So when you remove the whole sentence and use bullet and start with action verb, you minimize error in grammar. So you can do that, and then you start with an action verb. There are a lot of action verbs where people start with, and this is good. Avoid grammatical spelling errors. Use your computer to do that. Sometimes even your eye or sometimes computer can also autocorrect in different way. So ask somebody to proofread for you, because sometimes even your eyes are tired. Always send PDF unless requested. Formatting is messed up otherwise. References, I see many people still writing references. In some countries, they still ask for it, but I think it's a better thing is to write references upon request, because you are giving that space to other person about their time and about other person details. In that space, you can write about your accomplishment and your thing. So things to remember. So I know that it is very difficult for us to bring our resume into 2 to 3 pages when we have experience for more than 20, 15, 30 years. And many of us have felt that we don't want to change this. We are so, we feel insecure about losing pages of our resume. So my suggestion is you create a master with 3, 5, or as desired. You create a master and keep it. And as and when you need it, according to the job you are targeting, you bring the necessary competencies and the skills and the experience, and then build your resume. So don't let go of all the pages you have. Keep it as a master file, and then bring it as desired, as you do it. Target as needed for the job or the work applied, and I think this will do much. And what I do is use the method called top fold, which is like a hybrid resume, as I talked about. If you remember, I have reverse chronological and functional. So I use like the functional part of the resume where I put my competencies. I change it, every time because I have certain competencies. So I change it according to the requirement of the job description. So you can do that, or you can, if you have time and if you are really passionate about it, change it for every job, because it becomes more targeted, and then you have the higher chances of getting picked up for the interviews.
There
Show
was
your-
a question, Sandipa.
Yes.
What is your advice on and how should women who left their jobs for family reasons for a couple of years, say 4 years, and planning to return to a world of work on writing or formatting their CV?
I think we should not lie on a resume. We should write the dates, and we should send, but in your cover letter, you should be able to explain why there is a gap when you send a resume. But in your resume, you should write as you have, or even meantime, if for the family reason, if you have a gap and if you were doing something, learning something, then you can also add, even if you are volunteering, you can add that on your resume. So, but don't lie and don't change the dates, but you can explain it in your cover letter if you have a lot of gap. So that is how you manage the things, because resume, if you try to change, I know because of the gaps, many times people are not considered, but you have to, that's why you have to work it in such a targeted way that people see your resume and you show your transferable skills. Even if you are mother staying home and doing things for the family, if you have done things which you have shown skills like that are transferable to the work environment, then you can put it there. And even volunteer opportunities, if you're learning some course, doing that, you can put that as well. Thank you, Ike. Anything else?
Somebody wanted to see the previous slide.
Okay.
Yes. Rebecca, who may wanted to see the previous
Okay.
slide. Yeah.
Rebecca, anything?
Just oh.
Shall we move on?
No more comment from her side so far.
Okay, let's move on. So we talked about all of this, TOEFL, transferable skills. So create and update your bio. That's what with resume, you can just create it because you have all the contents and you want to showcase what you want and where you want. So create and update bio after you make your resume. Bio can be also in a part of a resume called profile, or a summary, which we normally write. So you can do that summary, and which can be useful for your self-branding, self-introduction, and things like that. So if you have this, then you can, it is easier for you. So then play the matching game. Once you are applying for the job, you have to play the matching game. So how many of you have played matching games when you were small like this? I think we all have, right? We all were so interested when we were small to match, put one thing to another, and we are very good at it. I think most of us did it when we were small. Be it houses, be it animals, be it things, we had that and we had done that. The same thing we have to do when there is a job description is given. So what you do is you print your job description, you have your resume ready, put it together, and then play the matching game. Use 2-3 color highlighters if you have. Underline the keywords that are repeating in a job description. The more repetition the keywords are, more they are looking for those competencies. So always make sure that there are competencies that are repeating, which means the company is giving focus on those key competencies, and you have to highlight that. Underline the words that are repeating, highlight criteria, try to match it. As I said, bring your transferable skills, even if you don't have. Highlight the skills they are asking, and always try to do this. There is an app called JobScan, which Dr. Alicia shared with me. I knew about it and I asked a few people around. This is a free, you can pay it as well as it's free, and then you can put your job description and resume, and it tells you what is the match. And you will be a bit surprised, the match comes if you do it, and you can do it up to 10 times once you scan it. So sometimes you will be very surprised by the findings, because the match is as per the algorithm set by the computers. This is not done by the human. So most of the cases, your resume does not even reach the employer. So that's why playing this matching game is very, very important. So now let's be back to our kindergarten, and whenever you are applying seriously for a job, print it out, use highlighters like I have used, pink, yellow, green, whatever you have, highlight. If you don't have highlighter, just underline it and try to show those skills the most that are repeated the most. And then the match, when you match it with your resume, find the common, what you have for the job, and find the gaps. And the common you highlighted, gaps you think about the transferable skills, you can take it, and then you can move forward. So divide your resume into sections. I don't have to tell you, you all have done, only except for objectives. Objectives is obsolete nowadays. Don't write objective, because the companies do not want to know what you want to learn from them, but the company wants to know what you bring to the table. So you write your summary or a profile, not an objective. Objective is obsolete. It's becoming like dinosaurs. People don't want to know what you want to come and do for the company, what you want to gain from the company. Most of the time we have the habit of writing objectives. So just don't write the objectives. You can write a summary, profile. Many of us have education. Many of us have a couple of degrees. So write the relatable ones. Don't put everything, because as we know, the longer things people don't read. So any questions so far? Okay, anything? No? Okay.
No,
So
no questions.
work experience, I think we all talk about accomplishment-based sentences, means these sentences which shows your achievements, what you have done in the job. So don't write what I've written on the job description or responsibilities. They don't want to hear that. They want specific examples, what you have done. So accomplishment-based sentences are sentences which you can qualify and quantify whenever possible. So you talk about budget, ROI, number of people led, you impacted, use bullet points, and not more than 2 to 3 lines per bullet. And also it is also per years of experience. They say if you have 5 to 7 years of experience, go up to 5 bullets. If you have less than 2 to 3 years, 2 to 3 lines. It is a tough job. I know, as we all have 10 pages, 5 pages of our life, but we have dedicated almost 70% of our adult life in working, and we don't want to concise it to 2 pages. But after all, where do we want to be remembered as, and do we want to be picked up, or do you just want to stick here to your resume? So accomplishment-based sentences, I'll talk about this mantra that many of the coaches use, that is called SAR method, S-A-R, SAR. So what is SAR is, first is S is for situation. So always when you write bullet points, think about what was the task at hand, okay? Then you talk about what was the action. What did you do? Be specific, don't generalize. That's where your number game plays, ROI, or how many people have led, what budget you played, what you have done, try to quantify, qualify, and result with your accomplishment. Were you able to reach that? And this is how the accomplishment-based sentences should be used. So always remember SAR. And then this can be used in the interviews as well. Tomorrow, Dr. Alicia will cover it. But the same thing, besides telling me about yourself, most of the questions in the interviews, if you follow this pattern, it is very useful in construction, and you're able to tell your achievements very easily. Sometimes you might have, instead of SAR, you might have a SOAR, S-A-O-R, and O is for obstacles. So that is the time where you can tell people what obstacles you have and what actions did you take and what results did you go to. So always remember this it is easier to talk about your accomplishment. Most of the time we have done so much, and culturally, communication-wise, we are not able to talk about our accomplishment. You know, Arafat and I was talking before this when he was there, we were talking about how culturally we're different and how our cultures does not allow us to talk so much about ourselves. And we were talking how we have to learn and how we have to do self-marketing and go out and do things like that. So this is like, I'll show you some examples of accomplishment-based sentences. Managing 150 staff, 100 students, 6 years. This is the situation. Your action is you did 13 university affiliation, 50 plus global partners in 70 countries is the result. So people try to bold everything, italics everything. Don't do that, because over bolding also creates pressure on the eyes and it becomes irritating. You can see a couple of examples. These are all different, are mine because I couldn't use anybody's. So you can see things like that and try to start with a powerful action verb, not just action verb like I did, responsible. Don't use the word responsible, because responsible means a lot. You are responsible to do so many things in the world, but we don't do it. So responsible does not define what you are doing. So write powerful action verbs, and there are lots which you can find. So I've talked a lot, so I wanted to summarize. There are a lot of videos, but I found this video and this is quite thing. So you can see what are the mistakes we can avoid in the resume. We talked about what to do, now what to avoid. So I'll start the video. Please let me know if the sound is coming or not.
Okay, so this looks like a good resume. Oh, the first word spelled wrong. Okay, so on this resume here, I see we have another spelling mistake. And when we look at their experience, responded, provided, worked, assisted, identified, performed, resolving, you want to make sure that if you're going to use past tense or present tense, it's consistent all the way through. So we can see the beginning of this resume has a lot of formatting issues. There's just some spaces in between the words that look really sloppy. Always make sure to get someone that you trust to proofread your resume for you. This person has included way too much personal information in their resume. Gender, date of birth, a personal picture, nationality, and marital status does not need to be included in your resume. All of this information leaves the door open for possible grounds of discrimination. Any information that's protected under the Human Rights Code does not need to be included. While the protected grounds may differ from province to province, the main ones that are usually covered are race, nationality, ethnic origin, color, religion, age, sex, sexual orientation, marital status, family status, and disability. In this resume, only the years of employment have been listed, so I don't know how long they held this position. It could have been 3 months or a year, which is a very different time frame. Okay, so in this resume, the individual has included the months and years of employment, and they even went a step further to list the duration for which they held the role. This makes my job a lot easier. It's always good to include the months as well as the years. So in this resume, we can see that this individual has provided a long list of things that they've done in this role. So they provided technical support, they performed troubleshooting, performed log analysis, assisted customers, etc. So while they've done a good job of listing out all of their responsibilities within the role, they haven't given us any information to say how they were successful in that role. So what were their accomplishments? Was there any cost savings? Here they attended some technical training. What was the return on this investment? What was the outcome? You don't want to just list everything. You want to tell me how you were successful and what you achieved. You want to get away from writing your resume as though it's a job description. It's not. You want to focus more so on your achievements. I'm more interested in their accomplishments within the role. So things such as, was there a return on any investments? Did they save the company money? Were they able to make processes streamlined, more efficient? Wow, this resume is 4 pages long. There's no way a recruiter's going to read a 4-page resume. There's no need to include all of your work history, especially if it isn't relevant to the role that you're applying for. Your resume is not an autobiography. Keep it short and succinct and to a maximum of 3 pages. This individual has 6 years of customer service and sales experience in a team lead position. It looks like they could be a great fit for our role. However, when I read through their work history, they haven't really provided a lot of information to explain how their skill sets are transferable or related to the role. A resume needs to have a purpose. It should tell the recruiter why you are a good fit for the position and what skills you can bring to the team. It's important to tailor your resume to every job you apply to. A cover letter allows you
Thank you, and I hope it was things which we repeated and
to show your personality and
so these are the mistakes. So try to, as I said, have a master and then try to do it. Make sure there are no things. Additional information you can add. Always languages are always bonus. Computer skills nowadays. Professional affiliations, leadership, awards, certification, or interests that are unique and original to you. Not just like reading something, but be specific what you are reading. If you're dancing, which dance you're dancing. So they give, if you're playing music, something like that. And another thing is, do not ever write your political and religious affiliations because you're allowing yourself to be discriminated. So always remember that. So what, it's already there, but I want to, Arafat, can you set up a poll? I want to ask, what do you think is the average time a recruiter spends on each resume?
Yes, I can.
I have few options. So can you just launch the poll? Can you please, those of you here, can you put on the poll, please?
Yes, it's launched.
Thank you, Arafat. I think the most, 27% said it is 5 minutes, 33% said it is 1 minute, 7% said it is 30 seconds, and 33% said it is 33 seconds. Thank you. If you see like that, so if you see it is that. Thank you so much, Arafat. So you spend weeks, days, maybe months working on your resume. Yes, we do. I think all of us do that. The recruiter looks it at mere seconds and tosses it. It's a survey done, and then they say that latest survey says they spend 6 seconds on a resume. So this is the survey released by Ladders, online matching recruiters. Average is they spend 6 seconds reviewing an individual resume. Life is so unfair, right? But what we have to understand is how to make your resume last longer than 6 seconds. So that is the gist of whole my presentation, is how do you make your resume last longer than the 6 seconds? So this is what you have to think. You have to think from the employer's perspective. If you are an employer or business provider, be honest. Can you relate to this picture? These are the resumes coming to you. Imagine his face. I think we all will make the same face if we have to do that. And then we will pick whatever, we are humans, so we'll pick whatever it is easy, whatever catches the eye, whichever makes an impression. So always be honest when you are submitting resume. So don't be stuck up and say, I will have 5 pages, I need to send it. Because think from the employer's shoes, what they are looking for and how they are taking how many seconds to see your resume. I don't say it only shorten makes it better, but use keywords, relevant experience, accomplishment-based sentences. You are on that 6 second, you grab the attention. So continue hyperlink. Nowadays there is a hyperlink in PDF, which is in the LinkedIn. Update every month because we all have short memories. So what I do is I put it on a calendar every 30th, I put it on my calendar, revise your resume so that we know what's happening. So today, if I put in my calendar, I will say I did mega symposium. So I can write that just for an example. So do that in the calendar. Otherwise, we will forget and I'll ask somebody, I say, Dr. Raman, please send me your resume. And she'll say, give me 2 days. Okay, I'll get back. We don't have to do that. And I do that also. I'm a culprit of that also. I also do that. But if I put it in my calendar, I remember it. So we are there. Every job is temporary. You are in between jobs. So everyone is, remember that. And nothing is permanent. If the change comes, sometimes life has different dance that comes with this. Expand your network. This is how you get your business, how you get your job. We are already here, a big network. Let's utilize it. Let's help out each other. Let's be there. Let's use the resources. This is a huge network, which we are very lucky to have here. So let me tell you, this is the picture. I want to ask you a question. This is the picture of my passport. You know, in Nepal, when you have to take a passport, you are not allowed to put a makeup. You are not allowed to do anything. You are not even allowed to, even if you are, no gender biases. So everybody looks the same in the passport. This is my profile picture, which I took as a professional sort. So which one should I use? My question to you is, passport size or profile picture? Give me an honest answer.
Second one.
Second one, why I care?
I'm reading the answer, so there is no more information. Profile, so fast. Okay, second one, profile pic, passport size, passport, the profile, then there's but this is not related to the picture, a conversation on with Anita going regarding some dates. Second one, you're beautiful in both from Dr. Alicia. Profile, Anita, neither. Then passport size, passport. We can, second one, passport, second, give more swagger. The purpose is different than in passport. Neither.
Yeah,
Neither
thank you.
too.
Neither. There's so many humble and good souls here. Thank you so much. But normally it's like a resume. So if you could present it well, you want people to pick your profile picture, not your passport picture. So ask yourself, do I want my passport style resume, or do I want my profile, nice profile style of resume to pick up? So I think most people who do not know you, they still prefer the profile picture versus the passport picture. So let's build our resume accordingly. So resume creates brand. So let's create our brand. So in creating a brand with your resume, you discover who you are, your expertise, your value, what is your target. Then once you discover yourself, you create your identity, what image you want to take, what message you want to give, and what keywords you want to use, and make it visible. You go to blog, social media, networking, and you have to do self-marketing if you want to be that blue duck. If you are happy with being a yellow duck, that is fine also. Those people, I salute them because they are so content with life. You know, they are very happy people, but many of us are not. We are always on the constant run to achieve something, to get something, and we are all the time trying to create the brand. So to do that, you have to find the gap, as I said. So I'll put this to you as we are coming at the end of the hour. I'll give you this paper, which is a gap analysis, like you can find the gaps. So whenever you are applying or doing, or when you have time, you can always ask this: what skills and knowledge do you have? What skills, knowledge you want for your position, the career vision picture if you have, identify gaps and action to bridge the gap. So take some skills like analytical, written, whatever skills they are looking for. I'm just giving some example. Even information gathering, suppose you want to build a video and you're gathering information. So what skills you have, what you require, and what you identify, and what are the actions you are taking to build the gap. Most of the time, we know what gaps we have, but we are not ready to take the action. So let's try to take action. So in order to take action, I use this primary color models. I think many of you have seen the red, blue, and green. So in order to take action, we need to start, right? So if I want to, for my health, let's say if I want to be better mobile, I want to lose weight, I have to start is I have to get up and do some exercise, or I have to walk. And then maybe I have to continue doing is I eat well, so I continue eating healthy foods and eat well. But what we forget and what we are not able to achieve the action is we need to stop doing something so we can replace, start doing, and continue doing. So for example, if I am snoozing my alarm in the morning and sleeping 1 extra hour instead of walking, then I need to stop that in order to create time for walking. So in order to do this, take any actions, you ask these 3 questions to yourself. What should I start? What should I continue doing what I'm doing good? And what should I stop? Because this is like brainstorming action sheet. You can do, what can I do less? Maybe not stop, maybe do more, maybe start, maybe keep doing. So whether if you want to start something new, ask yourself, what do I do less? What do I keep doing? What do I do more? And what do I start? This is how the action is created. Sometimes we try to stop and everything and start something new, and then we follow 3 days and it's like a New Year resolution. And 4th day, again, we go back and pull the covers and sleep. So you have to identify this, because we have so many time wasters. So find out what are your time wasters so you can minimize the stop and start something new. You all have the beautiful phone and you can track it there also. Sometimes you are surprised how many hours you're spending on your phone. And nowadays, the biggest time wasters are what you are on your mobile app. Either you're doing online shopping, either you're taking photos, you are on YouTube watching something, you are reading something, you are in Facebook. So we just have 24 hours a day. So something needs to stop in order for something to start. So let's identify that. Let's identify time wasters. And if you start doing this, then we will do this. And then we can do resume profile update once a month. Otherwise, it will go for years and we will not be able to do anything because we want to do so many things. Every day, certain new apps are coming and we are there. We want to be everywhere. But we have to tell ourselves, maybe I need to stop this and focus on something else that needs more focus. So these are the things. So I will be, if you want, I can share those skill worksheet and the another action brainstorming sheet with you if you want, but those are the takeaways, but this is what we are. So in order to create brand, you need to replace habits. So Netflix marathons to sleep, if you are into it, most of the time we binge watch and we don't know what time it is and we go on, continue doing, and we realize, wow, we have spent 1 hour in Facebook. Time to move on. So then we should stop complaining and start gratitude. This will help you a lot. do this gratitude exercise. I've been using from last mega symposium. I always, every day I do this exercise taught by Venkat. Opono, I cannot pronounce it, but I do it, and it makes me feel happy. Instead of blame, take a responsibility and overthinking. We want to do so many things, but let's take today, after this session, it's been a 1 month, you have been here at Mega Symposium. Out of 30 days, let's take one action and do it out of all the 30 days. So that is the action we need to take. So in order to create the brand. So as I say, life is like a dance to the tune, and life is full of learning and unlearning. It is not only learning, you have to unlearn and again relearn. So this is how it goes. So I hope like the resume building is like life. So you have to learn, you have to pause, you have to stop, you have to unlearn and again relearn and apply it. So this is through all my presentation. So if you have any questions, thank you for being here. And I would love to commence your evaluations and all. Thank you so much. I'm on time. I think we have 10-15 minutes left for the question answers. Thank you so much. Any questions, Anita, IK?
No questions.
Okay.
Some comments like, I love this. Thank you, Coach Sandipa. Absolutely fluid, clear and crisp CV and career advice. Wonderful work, excellent session, very rich session. Thank you so much, Sandipa. Please flash the birds again. Excellent session. Your presentation is so clear and crisp. No questions. Excellent session. Thank you.
So thank you all, and thank you so much. Please use this platform. I would like to thank especially IK and Anita and my career team for being here. Special thanks to coaches Arafat, Venkat, Roxani, Raman, who asked me like if I need any help. Thank you so much, lovely people. And this yes.
There is one question now. It says, how can your CV be to overcome people who have connections, yet you're competing with them for the same job? So how can you use your CV to overcome people who have the connections, yet you're competing with them for the same job?
First, I think if you have connections already, as I said, human is there making mistakes and discrimination, but still we have to try our best. So highlight the competencies. If you know the person with the connection, look for things you have and the person does not have. Try to highlight it, bring it in front. And also you start your connection, you start building your network. Nowadays, it is much easier. So if you see that you are applying, it also depends again on cultures, but it's mostly in many cultures, it is okay to send and invitation in LinkedIn, sending a message saying that I would like to connect and know more about, can I catch you for a coffee and know more about the job, more about the company culture. You don't ask for a job, but you can do those things. Let's meet for coffee and do things and talk about it. You can reach out to people through emails, like many of the companies, they have like their website and they have their team lead. You can talk about what they are doing. You can ask questions, and that is how you build your connections. So build your connections, try to network. I hope I answered your question.
Thanks, great.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Anita.
I was just going to say that in response to what you said, they said the connections are mostly relatives in the same company.
Yes, unfortunately, yes, they are. So I think if you have already connections, and most places, they already have internal candidates identified, it is sad. They do it just because they have to publish the thing. But I think networking is a big thing, and networking culture, we need it in order for us to move forward. So let's start networking, build our networks, write even to strangers. Let's not be shy, or let's move forward, write to them, talk about work, talk about what are the things, new things they have done. And I think these are the ways to build that. But I know like life is, as I said, it is unfair, and people have a lot of connections and they always come on the top. It has been there, but we have to try harder in whatever possible way we can.
Venkat has his hand raised.
Yes,
You'd like
Venkat.
to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Anita. Sandipa, thank you so much. Being in the adult learning industry for past 10 years, we always encourage the adults to upgrade and update themselves. And you shared excellent points today. Thank you so much. I just want to share something with you. Even though as much as we can choose what details that we can put in our own resume, in Singapore, when you apply for a job and you go for the first interview, the details that they ask in their application form, marital status, and clearly stated single, married, divorced. If married, how many kids? Even that we've got to state, right? And about religion, so many details which is irrelevant to the job. So when I'm being asked by my students, so can we ignore? I say, yeah. How is it relevant? Ask the employer, how is it relevant to the job? If it's not relevant, you can choose to decline. So what's your take on this, Sandipa?
Yes, I see that with a lot of big companies also doing that. It's a smart way of discrimination, I think. They have the resume and CV with limited 100 and 1,000 and 1,050 words, but they have all these forms there ready and to launch with all their internal forms, and they do that. And if it is optional, just ignore it. I just tell everybody, ignore it. But there are some which you have to answer. But you have no choice, but be honest. I think, again, we cannot do much, but I'm really sad. Like even big companies I see, like nowadays they're developing forms and they're putting all these criterias and they say this is information collecting, which is not, but still like this is like the trend that is increasing more and more.
Thank you.
There is another question. It says from Samuel, many people are hired for their nice CVs, but they are soon fired for their character. In this context, what do you advise us so that we won't be disappointed as soon as we're appointed?
I say
not to get fired for your character.
Don't lie. Be genuine. I think that is the answer. Be genuine, whatever you are, write it there, write your qualifications, present it in a way. But we should never exaggerate or lie on a resume, because once you are chosen, they will find out in 3 days after your orientation is over.
Tasneem has the hand raised. Can you unmute yourself? Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for this great session with deep informations. So my question is a little bit similar to that of Venkat. It's about the new graduated students. So how can you advise new graduated students to prepare their resume or their CV? Because they, much of the time, they put many informations which aren't significant, and I say to them that it risks to devalorize their CV. It isn't valorizing their candidature. So what can they select? And another point about the details of the CV, in Tunisia, for example, in CV, it is recommended to put personal informations, to put photo, etc. They care about the place. For example, if the company is in one town, so the candidates which are near the company are privileged. So it is important for them. The age also, it was an amazing experience for not my son, my cousin. So he has a CV which was very rich. He has a deep experience, but it is too young. So they say to him that it is too young to have the job of manager of a big company. It was I think it is strange as disadvantages to be too young. If we have the competencies required, why I must have 40 or 35 years to have the necessity the necessary skills to do the job. So this is my remark, just for my students. How can I advise them?
Thank you, Tasmin. I think especially for students, what I normally tell them is like, because they are very insecure because they do not have a lot of work experience, and they're most of the time, if they don't write work experience, it has a lot of empty spaces. So what they can highlight is on the leadership roles they are taking inside the universities, in the different clubs they are doing.
Yeah.
They can talk about the courses that are relevant to the job if they have not worked, the projects they are doing. You know, I ask them to write about projects. And I ask them to highlight what skills they have learned while doing those projects. You know, it can be team building, it can be some specific technical skills they have learned. So they need to highlight and bring that if they do not have a work experience. Even volunteering experience, if they have, they can put it on them. So these are the things they should. As for the age, as I said earlier, we cannot say yes or no. It depends on the country, province, and the company itself, as per their rules and regulation, what they put. If it is mandatory to put the age, you have to put it. But if you can avoid, and if it is an optional, I think if you feel that you'll be discriminated, I think you should not put it. So I hope I answered your question, Basnyat.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much. I saw a hand raise of Raja.
Sorry, is it Mark, M or K?
It's Raza.
Anita, it's Raza here. How are you? Yeah, I've been known as Mr. K, you see. That's why.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. K. Okay.
Trying to confuse us.
That's all right. I love doing that because I've got 3 different names. I've been known by different names as well. It's a great presentation, Sandipa. My point in relation to what Venkat said about asking the marital status and the kids and everything, somewhere I read is that some companies, especially the large corporations, wanted to know the family history so they can see how mentally settled that person is in order to perform in their certain task. I don't know, what do you think about that?
Yes, they talk about many places, I think, even my country, many places, they ask about the connections of the family so they can bring it to the job. You can see Nitin nodding his head. It's big in India as well. They want to see people coming with connections from the family, from their fathers, mothers who are working, so they can get those connections in the business. It is the norm. So it is sad. I say it's sad because people are disqualified, because if they are equally qualified and if they don't come with a background, it is sad. You know, and they do all sort of things. I used to work with students in US, and then these are big companies, like we look up to the role models, like the big tech companies, which we see the CEOs we're talking about wearing t-shirts and all. My students used to go there and they used to get their laptop in a country where they talk about discrimination, and they wanted to check this. And nowadays they want to check their social media status. You know, they want to see the real person because this is how they are portrayed in the social media. So they asked the candidate, if you put because they have all the privacy policy and they could not find it. So they asked the candidate, it's not happened one time, but many times, many of my students came back and told me they were asked to put their password during the interview and then to show their profile. It happened in US. And they had 2 choices, either to get up and leave, which was not easy for a 22, 23-year-old looking for a job for the first time. And they had to sit and put the password and throw it to them, because this is how they were assessing people through their social media profile, because they think that this is how people are portraying what kind of personality it is. So it is sad, but those big companies, like, they talk so much about welfare and balance and all those things, they still do. So I think it is company-wise, country-wise policies. So very sad.
I mean, I think it's,
Even that.
sorry, I think you're right in terms of that, because even in the organizations I've worked with, what they say and what they do is two different things, which is bizarre. But unfortunately, in the technology, the technology companies are the worst one, because they have a very egotistical problem. And the ego is one of the major issues with that, either my way or highway kind of thing. So thank you for that. Thank you for the answers.
Very well said, Sandipa. Here in Canada, it's very, very common. So like it's advised not to post pictures of, going to parties and clubs. It's very, very common. They look at your profiles, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you are. They will look for you immediately. They will research for you before they give you a job, which is very, very common here.
Yeah.
I think
Thank
it's
you for
become very
mentioning.
common everywhere. Something like 95% of recruiters will actually search the candidates that they do. I know that I did when I was recruiting, mainly to look at their LinkedIn profile, but honestly, anytime I work with candidates, I tell them to lock down all of their social media, put it on private. If there's anything embarrassing on there, take it off, and then start your job search. And if you're on LinkedIn, make sure you're only saying things that are professional, relevant to your career or relevant to the topic. Keep out your political viewpoints, keep out any of your racism or your bias. Otherwise, you are showing the world who you are on LinkedIn, and that's who your potential employers are, and they will search and they will read what it is you have put there.
Yes, so that is the scenario, everywhere. And that's what I tell everybody, like when I do these resume workshop, I said, be careful with social media because it can make or break your career. And many times we have seen it's breaking careers. And I think more the young people, they need to understand it because they are so instant in their communication. So it has hampered a lot of lives, so social media, that's why I said our branding is now, I think, more than 80% social media and 20% physical branding. And with COVID, it has increased much. So this is how what we put in our social media is another big thing. Another next topic for Arafat next mega symposium, I think we need to dig in more from the social media experts on how to do it. I think Nitin wanted to say something, if I may.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that even at senior positions, like I have come across with a case, one VP was denied the job because some consultant has followed the kind of post he followed, or they given a comment, or the kind of like he produced. So everything was planned, everything was finalized, but some consultant has found out the kind of post he liked or the kind of comments he put on the social media. And so nowadays on the social media, you are being screened in all sorts of dimensions, and that will make the career or break the career.
Yeah, and even in the very surprising thing I just found out a few days back living in Korea, they even ask the blood type, like casually in a conversation, because it is believed that by research that certain blood type people are very hardworking and A-type personality and all, and certain are very slow learners and all. And I was talking to a few people here, and they were talking like that has become an informal, but the filtering questions they ask, what is your blood type? Either it's work or either it is on a date. That's become the thing in South Korea, like they are asking that question. So when somebody asks you what's your blood type, I think we have to be very careful from now onwards, like where we are categorized as well. So
it's very
weird, but this is like happening.
But that's very interesting though, Sandipa, because it's not about the blood type, it's how the person has been grown up in their childhood and how they've been mentored and everything. So how is that blood type?
Yes, because there's a research, I think, that's been done, and they say that according to blood type, these are the personalities people have, and they are big following it because one of the influencers is after that, and they are all everybody's after influencers nowadays. So
I mean, look at these. Look at the Bill Gates. He was a dropout. Look at Steve Jobs. He was same dropout. So, and you know, our Virgin Media's, you know, the Virgin Atlantic's owner, he was dropout of. So, where is the blood type?
So this is like a human thing, like what their belief systems are, what they think, what is their, how they are brought up, different things comes into things. So I think we have to allow less discrimination and follow what is there and try to outsmart that in some ways. I see a hand raised a long time from Carmen, I think.
Yes, Carmen.
Yes, hi Sandipa. Thank you for an awesome session. As everybody's cringing to go to move on from this presentation, I'll just quickly my take on the career, on what Nitin said and what Venkat mentioned a bit earlier. The question is, when you say it can make or break a career, that's absolutely true. But at the same time, it can make or break the person. Would you really want to go and work for such a company if they start with you in the way that they start, right? So I just thought it's worth throwing the ball into the court because, yeah, sometimes it breaks a man.
Yes, totally.
You know, they become very unhappy and they become absolutely miserable, and it's daunting after you stay, I don't know, 10, 12, 20 years in such a job. I'm sorry I cannot put my camera on because the kid is in the background, but hey.
No worries.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandipa, once again.
Yes, it's very big thing because the cyber bullying and cyber accusations, things like that are really, like, there are so many cause of suicide rates going up is one of the reason in the world is because of the social media pressures and the cyber bullying and all. So it is sad, you know, it's not only breaking careers, breaking people all around the world. And I think more younger they are, they have more pressure and they do not have the choice like the much senior and mature people who are already set in their careers. They can say yes or no to the company culture or the people culture, but they are forced because they have to identify themselves with some career or something because of the societal pressure. So which is very sad.
Absolutely, absolutely agree. Yeah.
So Anita looked up for a blood type and did not match. You were quick. That was really really surprising, but the way things are moving in different parts of the world, it amazes me every time. So I think I don't want to keep you all long. Thank you so much. And we look forward to Dr. Alicia's session tomorrow. She will talk about the acing the interview and then IK, and then we have to wait for another 10 days. We have Arafat in the closing and making a big announcement at the end. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for supporting, and good luck, Dr. Alicia. I know you'll rock it as always.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sandipa.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sandipa.
Wonderful session.
Fantastic
session.
Thank
Wonderful
you.
session.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.